Hi everyone and welcome to this video. Today we're going to be talking about sabotage. Yes, sabotage. Okay, not just sabotage from yourself, which exists, but also sabotage from out there. And we're talking about it in terms of weight loss, weight control. So we're going along with my book, which is here. It's Foodaholic, the 7 Stages to Permanent Weight Loss. If you want to get that and follow along, I'm going to put a link to it in the description box below. And if you're new, welcome, subscribe, and hang out. Check out what I have to offer. There's lots of videos in the playlist for you all about weight control. And we are going chapter by chapter through the book Foodaholic, so you can follow along with us. Today we're talking sabotage, which is covered in chapter 4, where I talk about the plateau, which is stage 4 of the weight loss journey. Sabotage, self and outside sabotage, can happen at any point during the journey. And so let's talk about, first of all, what is sabotage? Okay, so if you look in the dictionary, it says sabotage is destroying or obstructing something on purpose. So when it comes to weight loss, we're talking about when you see yourself going down. This happens so often, I can't even tell you. Right? So you're going down the scale, you get to a certain weight, not your goal weight at all, but at some point down the scale from your top weight, and something will happen. So it could be, let's just take internal sabotage to start. All right, so let's say, for example, you put weight on because you were afraid of being attractive, because you didn't want to be hit on, because let's just say when you were attractive, something really bad happened to you. And I've heard that story so many times, that people will then associate being attractive, being sexually attractive in particular, and that bad thing that happened. Even if that happened to them as a child, they will still feel as if it was in some way they're doing, and that by being fat, they can stop something like that from happening again. It's not rational, but it's a defense that I see very, very often in people with weight issues. So if that isn't conscious, if you haven't worked that through, and I highly recommend, if you haven't been in therapy for your issues, that you go. I think everyone should be in therapy. I've certainly been in for many years in therapy, off and on over time. And if you want to look in the description box below, I will put information about individual sessions with me as well. So if, let's just say, what is going on within you is not conscious, so you're afraid of getting too attractive, you're afraid people are going to notice you, hit on you, and then therefore something really bad will happen. Let's say you lose 20 pounds, and then at that weight, you go out into the world. Let's say it was pre-pandemic, that will come back. But in the meantime, let's just pretend. You go out into the world and people start noticing you, and if you're a woman, let's just say, men start asking for your phone number, or talking to you, or wanting to buy you coffee, or that kind of thing, and it freaks you out. You get like freaked out, even though you think you like it, you think you want that, you think you want to meet someone and be in a relationship. But as soon as that starts to happen, you get really scared and you begin eating again. You start putting weight back on, and you may not understand why. If it's conscious what you're doing, then you can work through it, and not only understand why, but work through that fear, because it's not a rational fear. And when I talk to people about that fear, and it's common, as I said, obese women get raped. People that are disabled get raped, get assaulted. It's not because you were attractive that something bad happened to you. Something bad happens to all kinds of people all the time, unfortunately, in this world, the way it is. So knowing that can really help you if you begin to sabotage yourself for that reason. But that's just one of the reasons why we might sabotage ourselves when we're losing weight. There are lots of other reasons. For now, let's talk for a minute about external sabotage that comes to you from, let's say, a close family member, friend, a significant other, spouse. And that can come to you for all different kinds of reasons. So I'm going to use my hands to describe this process if I can. Maybe I'll find a chart to show you as well. It would be helpful. So let's just say you're in a system of some kind, and all of us are in some kind of a family system, work system, friend system. And by system, I mean a group of people who interact with each other. All right. So when we talk about a family system, so let's just say here's you and here's your spouse, and let's say you have 2 kids, so there's 4 of us in this family system. Okay, so now here's you, and everyone in this system, all 4 of you kind of interact in a certain way. So if we think of it as like a feedback loop, okay, then dad says this, mom says that, Jack says this, and Jill says that, and we kind of all know how to operate within this circle with each other because we practice. This is how our little family functions, right? Family system. All right, so now let's say, okay, now here's mom. This is mom. All right, so let's just say mom loses 50 pounds. Okay, so mom gets really attractive, right? Now here's dad. All right, now let's just say dad's overweight for this example. All right, and he starts to get a little nervous. Okay, he starts to think, I'm going to take my hands down now. He starts to think, hey, mom's looking hot. Maybe someone else is going to notice her, and I'm afraid I'm going to lose her. It's making me nervous. We went out the other night, and you guys were checking her out. So now dad's getting insecure. Now, this is his issue. It's not hers, but his issue might spill over if his fear and his insecurity of her getting too attractive causes him to try to sabotage her. And this happens a lot. You would be surprised. So this particular husband might bring home food that she can't resist. Oh, just without thinking, or he thought she might like it, or it's Valentine's Day, gets her 2 pounds of her favorite candy, this kind of thing, where it's a little bit of passive aggressive, but it sabotages the same. So when you think of this family system, and we were to all operate in this circular way, we know how to operate. When mom changes, we can't all operate the same way because she's moved. So let's say in this example, we'll put her in the center of the circle. She's just moved from her spot, and we like to go around there, all right, to the center. So now if we're going to do our circle like we always do, we're going to try to go around mom. She's not there anymore. So we either have to find where she went, include her, and now we're going in the circle in a new way, which no one wants to do this, by the way. Not because we don't want mom to be thinner and look good and be happy and healthy, but because it requires all of us to change in some way. Right, we all are going to relate to mom slightly differently. She looks different, she's dressing differently, she's eating differently, she's exercising and she wasn't before. So we either all have to somewhat change in order to include her now that here we are in the center, in the center of the circle. Or if we want to just keep doing the circle like we did before, we have to cut mom out. Essentially, we'll just cut her out. And we're going to keep doing our little circle, but we're just the 3 of us now. Does that make any sense? I hope so. Family systems with my hands. All right, so that, when you think of it as a feedback loop, when one of the members in that loop changes, the whole loop has to change its circle, or it has to cut that member out, which will change it as well. It's really it's going to change no matter what. But in order to include that member, it's going to require everyone to change, and people in general do not like change. So let's say you're the one that lost a bunch of weight. Everyone in your environment now has to change. They didn't lose weight. Like they don't necessarily want to have to change, but it's going to require that. And so because there's just this natural resistance to change, you may get some external sabotage from members in the circle who are inconvenienced, let's just say, from having to now do this. Okay, it's not because they don't want you to be happy or love you. It's just because they're resistant to change, and your changing is threatening to them in some way, scary in some way. So, all right, so what I've boiled it down to as far as what happens and why we self-sabotage, it's 2 reasons. 2, and one is fear, the other is fatigue. So fear and fatigue, the two F's. So we're talking right now about different fears that we may have and that we may then cause ourselves to self-sabotage. One of those fears that we're talking about is being attractive, being sexually attractive, and what that means in our society and what that will, the consequences essentially of what that means. If you've been really overweight and hiding out, there are a lot of changes that come about when you lose a lot of weight. So there's that fear. There's just the fear of being different, of eating differently. I mean, if you've been a 200-pound woman and taken in around 2,000 calories a day for many, many years, changing your behavior is not easy, and eating differently is not easy. So to use my my hand example again. Okay, so all right, so let's just say you weigh 200 pounds. Okay, and this is what you do to weigh 200 pounds. So this is how you eat, this is what you exercise like, this is how much you move to weigh 200 pounds. And let's just say that you've weighed 200 pounds for a really long time. That's your top weight. That's where you hang out. That's what you maintain, right? So here we are, 200 pounds. And so this is just what you know how to do, right? It's easy to maintain 200 pounds. Here's your behavior, and you've practiced it, and it's easy. Okay, so now let's just say that we want to weigh 150 pounds. We want to lose 50 pounds. All right, so now we're going to change our weight by 50 pounds, so now our weight's going to be here. So in order to weigh 50 pounds, maintain 50 pounds, we have to then take in about 500 calories a day less every day, or take in 400 calories a day less and move 100 calories more. Some balance there, but we're going to have to decrease our calories by about 500 a day to maintain 150. So we're used to being 200 pounds. We're used to this behavior. Okay, now we want to be 150, so we're going to try to move our weight here. That requires us to behave like this. But we're used to behaving like this. So changing our behavior takes energy and effort. Okay, this is easy. This is 200 pounds. 150, not easy for a while. Okay, until we practice it enough, we do it enough, and we learn it well enough that it becomes easy, like 200 did. Okay, but now we're used to being 150, and that becomes easy for us to maintain. All right, now once you've lost any kind of weight, and again, the book, if you want to follow along, Foodaholic, the 7 stages to permanent weight loss. The last stage, I'm going to jump ahead and tell you what it is accepting that this is a lifelong journey. All right, so you have to kind of get it, if you've had a weight problem for any length of time at all, that you're going to have to keep working on this, because we're back to the health. In order to maintain the 150 pounds that you want to be, you have to maintain that behavior over time. We were 200 pounds for a long period of time, and that behavior that you've practiced for a very long time does not go away even after you've maintained 150 for a long time. So what I'm trying to say is that our old habits, our old weight habits, which they become, don't go away. They just kind of get overridden. So here's my 200 habit. Here's my 150 habit. Now that can get really strong, and that'll be what I'm going to weigh and stay here. However, if I'm not diligent, I don't work on it until it becomes like subconscious, I'm going to want to go back to the 200. There's going to be a pull. It's going to take energy for me to stay here. So when we talk about fatigue, just the fatigue of working on your weight, of trying to move your behavior from here to here, it's exhausting. So sometimes we just get tired, right? If we were, let's say we're going to be a mouse in a maze getting cheese. Okay, so here's your 200-pound maze, here's your 200-pound cheese, you're a mouse, and you just know where your cheese is. So you're hungry and you go to your cheese, and there it is. So you can just go straight line through the maze to your cheese. All right, when you move your weight, it's not a straight line to the cheese anymore. You have to expend energy to get to it. Changing what you're eating, changing how much you exercise, keeping track of your food, getting on and off the scale, paying attention to how many calories, and this is all taking energy for you to do this. And sometimes we get tired. Sometimes we're just like, you know, I don't feel like it right now. I don't feel like it today. I don't want to keep records. I don't want to have a low calorie day. It's a holiday. It's my birthday. You know, we get tired. And so we can just kind of go off track. And if you're not aware of that and you don't realize that it's okay, it's part of the process, and it's okay to go off and get right back on. Not go off, you know, well, I went off, so I might as well just, you know, what follows that? Okay, we don't want that. So for sabotage, then, it's complicated, and it's a good thing for you to get in touch with yourself. And by the way, in the book, I know I've shown it to you, but one more time, Foodaholic. I have exercises, homework at the end of every chapter, and I highly recommend that you work on some of this stuff yourself to get in touch with why am I doing this? Why can't I change my behavior? What happens when I do change my behavior? What resistance do I encounter, and why? And if you can get in touch with all of that and make that conscious, then you can work with it and work through it and get it to the point where you can allow yourself to maintain a lower weight, stay there long enough to where it gets easy, and then go to wherever you want to end up going weight-wise. You can do it. I've done it. I'm a former heavy person. I help people lose weight all the time and keep it off. We can do it, you can do it. Is it easy? No. Is it worth it? Yes. Yes, absolutely worth it. All right, that's it for today. Thank you for being here. I hope you've enjoyed today's video, and I hope you found it helpful.